Hello and welcome to Business Reporter's Cybercrime series, hosted by the Telegraph online. I'm Alistair Green and today we're talking to Jonathan Davies from Pervade Software about why organisations lose control of their cybersecurity. Good morning.
Good morning.
We seem to need more and more layers of security. We're investing more, we're doing more, but yet we're still lagging behind the cyber criminals. Why is this?
The number one thing we hear, visibility. Being able to see the security and the attacks on your key assets in your entire landscape is nigh on impossible these days. People have this approach of using multiple softwares, spotlights that they shine on their key assets in their IT landscape. And the gaps between those spotlights are growing ever bigger.
Well, we don't want those gaps, so I guess we're going to need more and more of these spotlights. How many are we going to need? And obviously all of the software behind that, how much of that are we going to need?
One. That's the real key. We need to get to a point where we have one system. This archaic approach of having multiple spotlights. If I was talking to you about the security of your living room and said, well, instead of having one light switch that turned the main lights on, why don't you buy 150 different torches and shine them on all the things that you like in the room? It's an archaic approach. We need to get to the point where we have one system that can collect all of the data from our network necessary to protect it and put it in one place where trained professionals can analyze it properly.
So this sort of one approach, I mean, how does it actually work?
It hasn't up to now. Technologically, it's not been possible. The reason why you have multiple systems is because the data that they're collecting from the environment, log data, performance data, configuration change data, vulnerability data, they're all so different that they have to be put into different databases, different types of databases. So until now, it's not really been possible because of this old databasing technology that's used by nearly every major organization and company out there.
So what have you done to make it possible?
Well, rather than starting from building a monitoring application, which is what we wanted to do, we went one step back, spent 2.5 years in self-funded development, building a brand new type of database from scratch, one that could house all of these data types and correlate them and provide all of this good, rich feature functionality. Once we had that, we then built the security monitoring system that could go and collect all of these data types, bring it into this unique database, and then run correlation rules and automated rules to detect threats based on the data.
I can already hear decision makers in organizations saying, hey, hold on, this sounds like a major transformation. It's really going to have a major impact on my organization and really interrupt my operation.
Anytime that you make a change in a corporate IT environment, it's going to have an impact, but we do try to minimize the impact. Typically, IT directors and CISOs or Chief Information Security Officers would have a choice. Do I rip out and replace the things that I've invested in so that I can put a new approach, a new system in, or do we try to leverage the investment that we've made and improve the systems that we've got? We try to allow people to have a kind of a hybrid approach. We want to provide this floodlight. That's our goal. And if we can do that by collecting data directly from the devices, i.e. we have no other systems in place, we'll do it and everything will work seamlessly. But we do have this option to work with the existing systems that are in place so that we pull data from the back end of those systems so that we can use that data in this floodlight approach.
I know companies will say this is cybersecurity, we need to spend what we need to spend, but budgets are always going to be a concern. This is all sounding rather expensive.
Unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of charging for the same as 6 or 7 monitoring systems. We never really have the luxury of going into an organization and replacing all of their monitoring infrastructure. So we have to price our system aggressively enough to compete in any individual opportunity. If we're competing with a log system or a config system or a vulnerability system, we have to be priced aggressively enough to be able to win that, even though we would provide the functionality of 6 or 7 different systems.
So aggressively priced would imply that you're cheaper than alternatives. You're also claiming to be better. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement. How do you do that?
Bold statements, how we have to survive. We're a British innovation. We're a British founded, run company. We support all of our customers from the UK. And in order to compete on this global stage, we have to make the promise of being better than any other technology, but also less expensive.
When we see the big news reports about cybercrime, it's always the big banks, it's government departments, it's massive organizations. I'm thinking, I'm a fairly small organization. Surely I'm pretty well okay, aren't I?
There's a lot of companies think that, until they get hit. We find actually that companies, small window and blind companies in the UK have been hacked. We find that UK hosts, there's a huge UK hosting provider, that although we think of them as big in the UK, on the global scale, they're tiny. And again, they thought, well, we'll never get hit. We're a small UK-based company. And what happened? All their systems got brought down for 6 hours. It doesn't really matter what size of company you are. Anybody can hold a grudge. Somebody that you know, somebody that you've annoyed down the pub just happens to know a member of Anonymous, and they think that it's going to be funny to hack and publish your customer database. We see this happen all the time, and companies often think that they're too small to need to care about it until it's too late. What we try to say is, let's make security monitoring as automated as possible. And the only way that you can automate it, which is what allows small companies to do cybersecurity monitoring, is to have all of the data in one place. Don't have to have 4 or 5 different team members all trained on different systems. Have one system, one server, one training methodology, and have all of the data coming to one place so that you can see it. And if you can use that one system for performance and availability monitoring as well as security monitoring, it's a bonus for the organization.
The other question that will always come to people's minds is, that's great, you've got a solution for now, but now is yesterday very, very quickly. How can you assure potential clients your solution is actually sustainable and that you'll be able to look after them into the future?
It's a great question, because this really is paramount to security monitoring and cybersecurity. Not being able to react to what people are doing just today, but also being able to anticipate what they're going to do next. For us, I think the key is, the hurdle that we have to get over today is getting all the data in one place. Once the data is all in one place and we can shine this floodlight on it, how we analyze that data is something that we can change on the fly, reactionary to what the hackers are doing. We don't have to do that and future-proof it right now. What we have to do is make sure that the data is all in one place and make sure that the rules and the analysis that we have cater for today's threats.
So you saying the analysis is of what the hackers are doing, I mean, that would imply that they're actually leading and you're following and just being reactive.
Often that is the case. I mean, every time that a hacker comes up with what we call a zero-day attack that we've never seen before, we have to modify the way that we analyze the data. Our goal is to be as quick at reacting to those things as we can. However, most of what we do as security analysis professionals is to anticipate where the hackers are going next, what they're going to do next, and already tailoring our systems in preparation for that. And most of the time, we do get it right.
So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the future of cybersecurity is. For the moment, Jonathan Davies from Pervade Software, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for your time.